In these character finisher ranking videos, I've covered a wide variety of character types, the jack of all trades, bruisers, and grapplers. One I haven't been able to get a grasp of, until now, is the speed character. Well, we finally sped up and found ourselves looking at Kabal, a former Black Dragon warrior who survived an attack from one of Shao Kahn's extermination squads and, as a result, gained a horrifying visage concealed only by his respiratory mask. Although only appearing in 6 of the titles, he's been extremely good in the competitive scene in those games. Today, after many requests, we'll be ranking all 8 of Kabal's finishers from the worst to the best.
Fight!
Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. My name is Nick, and welcome to, or welcome back to the channel. If you haven't done so, gas blast. What the hell? Let me just use a different expression. Hook slam that subscribe button to join the Whack Pack today and to stay tuned for more rankings and mortal content. In this episode, we'll be covering Kabal, a character many people have been hooked on since MK3. With his iconic hooked swords and nomad dash inspired by the Flash, he's been quite the memorable character despite his limited appearance. After loads of requests, he's finally here. His finishers will be ranked based on its creativity, pacing, impact, and personality. Here are the ground rules for the noxious and evil Flash. Rule number 1, brutalities, stage fatalities, and mortalities will not be included. Rule number 2, fatalities from Mortal Kombat Armageddon won't count in this list. And rule number 3, recreated fatalities will count as their own entry in this list. As mentioned in previous episodes, many games do something different with these classic finishers, for better or for worse, and each will count as its own on this list. An example, Kabal has hooked people more than some skilled fishermen, so each will be ranked differently. With those rules established, get your gas mask, sharpen your hook swords, and get into your sprinter stance, as we're going to rank all 8 of Kabal's finishers across all the games he's appeared in. Number 8. Starting off this list, we'll be looking at Kabal's debut appearance by looking at Mortal Kombat 3. For how broken and godlike he was on the tier list, considered being the best character in the game by many, his finishers came off as extremely underwhelming. Face planting into our bottom spot is Freaky Face, a possible reference to Large Marge from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Taking the mask off to reveal a face only a mother could love that shocks the opponent so badly, their soul just runs away in fear. Yep, that's it. To be honest, I think it's really underwhelming. For a unique character, I wish something more creative was made. Many people, such as Game Informer and OneUp.com, consider this to be one of the worst finishers in the entire game. I stand with them, and I also think it's the worst Kabal finisher. It just lacks soul. Number 7. Speaking of mentioning OneUp.com and Game Informer stating the worst finishers in MK3, we're moving on to Kabal's second finisher from the same game. With the character bringing in buzzsaws, super speed, and hook swords, did they include a finisher taking advantage of those traits? Well, no. Instead, we got this.
Fatality.
Head inflation will take the 7th spot. I believe this one is slightly better than the Freaky Face finisher. For one, there's some blood and it makes the body go boom. Other than that, this one just seems a bit too silly for my liking. Yeah, sure, this was a direction Mortal Kombat 3 was going for, but these 2 Kabal finishers stood out as the most ridiculous. It's just weird. Thank goodness the later games knew how to utilize Kabal's features into a finisher. Number 6. Moving from the PlayStation 1 to one of my favorite consoles ever, the PS2. With Kabal's return after stealing his hook swords back from Movado, he was ready to slice into deception. At number 6, we've got Hookup. Named after a successful night using Bumble, but leaving one of the two more satisfied. kicking the opponent airborne to chop the opponent in half. For a Mortal Kombat finisher, it's standard and good on its own. However, it doesn't feel too much like a Kabal finisher, which is what places it lower on the list. But I can say it is a good finisher at least, so there's that. Number 5. Let's move on to Kabal's second finisher from Deception. Where the first one finally took advantage of his hook sword, albeit pretty underwhelming, this second one at least takes advantage of another trait of the Nomad Dasher. Kicking into the 5th spot is Tornado Spin. Having a finisher take advantage of his Nomad Dash ability is cool in concept. Having the opponent spin right round like a record, then to have Kabal have the bits fly apart by putting the blade through them is pretty interesting and kind of funny. Although wacky, like his MK3 finishers, I do appreciate this taking advantage of something he was capable of doing, rather than doing something Looney Tunesy or goofy. I feel if it were remade today, imagine if the body resembled that of Pull and Peel Twizzlers instead. It would be extremely gross, but I think it would be awesome. Overall, another pretty okay finisher. Number 4. Time to check out one of Kabal's better finishers with the Mortal Kombat Reboot. Along with the characters and storyline, those were readapted for a new generation, similar to a PS2 era Kabal finisher. Slicing ahead to number 4 is Hookup. This is a great way to update the original version of this finisher from Deception. Instead of cutting the opponent horizontally at the waist, this one goes vertically with a nice catch of the head at the end. That little detail feels like something only Kabal could do, which is quite fitting for just him. As these games progressed, his finishers would implement more characteristics and would make for more impactful finishers. So let's check out the top 3. Number 3. Moving on to Kabal's second finisher from the Reboot. With the first being a recreation of Hookup, this second one innovates on the gore technology.
Kabal wins.
It Takes Guts lands at our 3rd spot. This one takes the phrase "gut you like a fish" seriously and with style. Gutting the opponent to showcase some stringy bits, then to have the opponent fall onto the blade slowly is just a nice way to cap it all off. When watching the behind the scenes video by the Mortal Kombat team, seeing this finisher done in the capture room looked quite fun to do, and from what I've heard, it was pretty challenging to pull off. These help place it in the top 3 Kabal finishers, and it takes guts to watch this one. Number 2. Our top 2 finishers come from Kabal's latest appearance, Mortal Kombat 11. Many fans were excited to see this fan favorite character make his return. With the innovation and great direction for the finishers, it was a matter of time until we got a gross and unique Kabal finisher. One that is also just cringy and uncomfortable to watch. Our runner-up is Hooked. Probably one of the more disturbing finishers from this title, which is really saying a lot. Eviscerating, followed up by cutting the tendons, catching the opponent with both hook swords into the mouth. The terror the opponent expresses before losing their head is extremely unnerving, capping it all off by chopping the head in a unique fashion. For its fit to the character, the disturbing aspects and great pacing help place this at the number 2 spot. This is a Kabal finisher that'll get the fans hooked. Number 1. Let's finish this ranking race off by checking out his second finisher from Mortal Kombat 11, where Kabal's hooked finisher took advantage of the hook swords in an extremely dark and torturous way. This second one takes advantage of the speedster trait, hook swords, and adds some gross gore for some good measure.
Fatality. Kabal wins.
Taking the gold medal of all Kabal finishers is Road Rash. As Stefan of SNL would say, this finisher has everything. Super fast nomad dashing, dragging the opponent's face off a very dirty, gross floor, eyeballs popping out, it is truly a gross one. being thrown and having the speedster run around the world to catch them and cut them in half. When it comes to stunting on the opponent for a finisher, this is the best way to do it, which leads to an awesome freeze frame. With all of these factors highlighting Kabal's characteristics, this is what helped places Road Rash as the #1 Kabal finisher of all time. So there you have my ranking of all 8 of Kabal's finishers ranked from worst to best. Which Kabal finisher was your favorite and which was your least favorite? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below and I'll surely get back to you. Now let's be kind with each other regarding our opinions. My list isn't the definitive list, it's just mine and I'd love to hear yours as well. Personally, I thought Kabal's finishers got better as the games progressed over time and the team learned how to incorporate his features into finishers. So my apologies if this came off more as a chronology of his finishers. I hope you're enjoying the stream of content coming your way. Don't forget to come back in 2 more weeks on Tuesday, May 31st, the day after Memorial Day, for a grouped character finisher ranking. I guess it's time for this generation to stand up. Well, for their rankings at least. As always, thank you so much for tuning into this video and showing your support. My name is Nick, and remember to have an amazing day.